106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
So, I was watching Bad Boys the other day, and it got me thinking about a few different subjects. One is, why don't they just make good old-fashioned action movie these days? There's a good guy, there's a bad guy, they kill each other. Or, one kills the other one. None of these little plot holes and trying to be smart. I understand, you want a good script, you want something different, but sometimes you just want a good action movie where there's a lot of guns, a lot of things go boom, and a lot of people die. Sometimes that's just what you want. That's what Bad Boys is, and it made me think of that. So that's going to be a different episode. But it also has, what I forgot, some really good chase scenes, both by car and on foot. So today, we're going to talk about chase scenes in cars and some of what I consider the best car chase scenes in movie history. And in the next episode, I'm going to do a quick one about foot chase scenes, because they're very different. They have to be shot differently for different effects and different reasons. And, I just didn't want to lump them together because they're very different organism altogether. So, let's start off, shall we? Of course, this has to be in here. The French Connection. Gene Hackman. What else can I say? It's just a great, great movie. And the chase scenes are so amazing in this. And what makes these chase scenes so amazing isn't that it's not like super fast and super slick driving. A lot of it stop and go, having to get around traffic. A lot of it kind of makes you feel a bit nauseous, but it makes it feel real. There's no falseness in it. Sometimes they peel out and hit each other. There's just a certain grittiness and realness about it. I also love the fact that rather than the director, when he first watched the initial take, because they had to film this whole chase scene twice, was that he was not happy with it. He thought, nope, it's lacklusting. So the stunt driver at the time, he said, okay, well, why don't you come in with me? So the director did, and they did the whole, 90 kilometers drive, or 90 blocks drive together. And the director actually filmed it himself in there. That was pretty cool. Going to another country now, in Europe, the Italian Job. While the remake did have some good chase scenes, it's still the original, I think, is the best. He's only meant to blow the bloody doors. Just, there's some great scenes in it, and the fact that they're all racing in minis just makes it even better and a bit more stranger. Next I have is Mad Max, and that's Mad Max 1, the first one. Now, I know some of you are saying, why aren't you doing the new ones, Ferocia, and all that stuff? Well, for me, while there is a lot of cool car things going on, it's not so much a chase because it's basically just going in a straight line, and most of it's to do about how they're attacking each other rather than the driving itself. So agree with me or disagree with me, but I don't think that should be on the list. There's really cool car things going on and fighting with cars. I just don't think as a chase scene it works so well. But the original Mad Max Road Warrior has some really good ones, and some ones that make you sit on the edge of your seat because you know what's going to happen to him or his enemies when they lose. If you haven't seen the first Mad Max, it's quite different than the rest. Alright, so the next one we have is What's Up, Doc? With Diane Keaton, a very young Diane Keaton, made in 1972. This is actually a really fun movie. The movie we're going to be talking about later is shot in San Francisco. But you're going to see some good car chase scenes and some chase scenes that's not necessarily in cars, but still on four wheels. There's a lot of stuff to see in this, and there's some really funny parts as well. Okay. Next up is Terminator 2, because that has a great chase scene. The big semi, and he's on the motorcycle. I mean, what else is to say? Going through those California water aqueducts, it really puts you on the edge of the seat. And there's something I should have said at the beginning of this episode. There's some things some movies that aren't going to be here because of the criteria that I'm looking at. First of all, I think all the stunts should have to actually be done. No CGI or very few CGI. Maybe add some burning rubber effects, but nothing that takes away from the drivers themselves. So what I mean by that is there's some movies where, yeah, it looks really cool, but a lot of it was done with the green screen and stuff like that. So I'm not including those. For me, they have to have real stunt drivers for this. Second of all, I feel like the movie itself shouldn't be entirely based as a kind of a chase or a race. I'm going to make one exception to this rule later, you'll find out why. But I just feel that's what the movie is, and it's not a chase scene, that's just actually the movie. So anyway, moving on, Mission Impossible really has some good chase scenes in there. And kind of carrying on from that, choose any Bond movie, because they all have a good chase scene somewhere. You got spies, you got cars, you're going to have a good chase scene. It's kind of what's needed in those kind of movies, a good car chase scene. All right, moving on to one that people, I think, often forget about this movie. I'm not sure why, because it's great as a movie, but some of the chase scenes are just simply amazing. And that's Ronin. And Ronin, I think, really did a big advertisement for Audi. But let me tell you, when I first saw that movie, I wanted to go out there and buy an Audi A6 as well, because what they did in those cars was crazy. Crazy good, though. Going back on with kind of the spy series as well, and I think this has to have its own little mention because there's some really cool chase scenes in this, and that's The Bourne, especially The Bourne Supremacy. There's some very good chase scenes in that, when he's going down the small streets on the bike, and just some magnificent choreographed stunt driving going on. Very worth watching. And then we're going to go to one I just already mentioned, Bad Boys. I think most of them actually have a really good chase scene, both on foot and car. We'll get to foot one on another episode. But the car scenes, especially the end of the first one, when he's in the poster, this is the fastest stunt car in production. Really good. And of course, I think in this case, Martin Lawrence and Will Smith really helped the chase scenes. Compared to, like I said, the Italian Job or the French Connection, that was more to do with grit and being more real. This one, obviously, this would happen in real life at all. It's far from being realistic, but the banter between the two really make it just worth watching. Going along with that is another one, Gone in 60 Seconds. Well, I said, look, it's not all about the movie can't be all a car chase scene. This one isn't, because it is all about cars, but not all the movies are car chase. And I guess you could say the same thing for the Fast and the Furious series. And that's more of an honourable mention, along with The Matrix Reloaded. Again, that one's kind of iffy, because I know there was a lot of CGI, a lot of green screen done on that, but parts was actually real, so I'm kind of putting that as an honourable mention. Now, going to my rule about the whole movie can't be a chase scene, this one is kind of a cheat, but I think it's just great, and it's also the namesake for this channel. It's a mad, mad, mad world. And because they're all trying to race to get to the X, to get to, the treasure, there's a lot of car chases, a lot of craziness going on. And it's just worth watching for the fun of the cars and what happens to the cars in the end. All right, so I'm on to my last two, and there's far more movies out there that have great car chases. I'm just talking about some of my favourite. Oh, and before I forget, there's another one that I forgot about, and that's the 7-Ups. Have you heard about this one? A lot of people haven't. But here's the thing. It's from the same producer as The French Connection and Bullet. And that leads me on to my next point. My two favourite car chase scene movies have to be Bullet, just because, come on, it's Bullet. It's Steve McQueen. It's Bullet. It's Bullet. It's Bullet. Do I have to say anything else? It's Bullet. San Francisco, hills, jumping over things, sliding into things. It's just simply amazing what they did with that. In fact, the driving got so bad, I think they completely ruined a camera that was set up because they drove into it. So before I go into what I think is probably my favourite, between that and Bullet, they're two very different things, I just want to talk about some of the cliches. Here's some of the cliches. Why is there always like vegetables stalls where they're driving? Why is there always boxes or somebody carrying a window? And how is it that they're always driving and never looking ahead of them and they never seem to crash? I mean, those are always going to be some cliches in the movies. Also, it's like, why do cars sometimes just simply explode? For no reason, there's a little dent and everything explodes all of a sudden. Yeah, I know it looks cool. I know they did it for effects. And you know what? These kind of cliches are okay because they look cool and they make you enjoy the chase scenes. But I just want to talk about a few cliches that you see. Okay. Next one. Blues Brothers. The chase scenes in this movie are just ridiculous. They're over the top. They're silly. But they're fantastic and they're fascinating. So it's really hard for me to pick my number one. I normally don't do this, but it is going to be between Bullet and the Blues Brothers. Just because they're two very different styles. One is comedic, one is realistic. So I put them as joint first for different reasons. I think followed very closely to that is Ronin, as I said before. I think that's a very underrated scene. Well, anyway, join me next time for when we talk about the best foot chases. Oh, sorry, honorable mention. I totally forgot to mention this. Smokey and the Bandit. Yes, Burt Reynolds at his finest. Not my favorite chase scenes, but definitely in the top 10. And you've got Burt Reynolds always just giving that sheepish smile and his little smirk, which really helps. And of course, you've got, he's down now, I'm going to keep on trucking. Always good. Well, anyway, I better go and look at the road because I really haven't done it in time. And look, I've been lucky. There's been no traffic ahead of me.
Just as an extra here, there are many movies I didn't put in here. And the reason for that is I notice a lot of movies, especially more recently, like to do very quick camera cuts where it's like a few seconds of the footage before it goes to the next angle. And while that can look very exciting and make things seem very fast and thrilling, I feel it really takes away a lack of, skill to be able to do a long established shot of a car chase. That takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of skill. Now, the editors who put that together can do very good work by making it very quick, and I'm saying that's not a skill, but it's a different kind of skill, and for me it takes a bit away from the movie for me.